Have you ever wondered what would happen if Yuji Itadori had Sukuna's full power in the Culling Game? We're talking about everything: Dismantle, Cleave, Divine Flame, Malevolent Shrine, the full cursed energy output of the King of Curses, walking through a death game designed to burn sorcerers down to nothing. But here's the twist: the Culling Game was built by Kenjaku, a man who has been alive for over 1,000 years, who has worn more bodies than anyone can count, and who designed every single rule of this game specifically to make sure nobody could just punch their way out of it. So what happens when someone enters that system carrying the one type of power it was never designed to contain? So let's get into it. In this timeline, the moment Yuji crosses the first colony barrier, every player inside feels the cursed energy shift simultaneously. The players who have been dominating the point rankings for weeks go completely still. Ancient sorcerers reincarnated into new bodies, people who remember what real power felt like, recognize the signature instantly, not as Yuji Itadori, as Sukuna, and no ancient sorcerer who survived the Heian era wants to voluntarily walk toward Ryomen Sukuna. The weaker players scatter without consciously deciding to, pure instinct. The colonies that were chaotic death traps full of dangerous, unpredictable fighters become something different the moment Yuji steps into them. Every remaining player suddenly very aware of exactly where Yuji is, and very focused on not being near him. Then Yuji walks into his colony. Higuruma Hiromi is a former lawyer who awakened deadly sentencing, and Higuruma, who is smart enough to read situations accurately, reads this one immediately. The cursed energy output alone could flatten everything in a 2-kilometer radius, and Yuji is standing there choosing to talk instead of fight. That specific choice is the first thing that has made genuine sense to Higuruma since the game started. A man with that kind of power picking words over destruction is worth listening to. The alliance forms fast. Higuruma adds the substitution rule using his accumulated points, and now Yuji has a real objective and a real partner inside a game that was designed to make both of those things impossible. Hazunoki's body modification technique turns his own body parts into explosives, dangerous, unpredictable, and devastating against opponents who cannot handle the raw destructive output. Against Yuji, it lasts about 30 seconds. Every explosion Hazunoki fires hits a cursed energy wall that dissolves it before it reaches anything important. Yuji closes the distance while the explosions are still going off around him, completely unbothered, and ends it before Hazunoki has processed that none of his attacks are working. The Tokyo colonies are clearing faster than Kenjaku projected, which means Kenjaku is already adjusting. Sendai colony, Yuta is already there. Yuta Okotsu is tearing through the Sendai colony simultaneously. Ryu Ishigori, Takako Uro, Dhruv Lakdawala, Yuta handles all of it, and when Yuji's energy signature reaches Sendai from across the colony network, Yuta feels it and goes quiet for a second, because even Yuta, who is operating at a level that has the entire colony talking, recognizes that what he is feeling from across the barrier is something on a different floor entirely. They link up between colonies, and the coordination changes everything. Yuta handles Sendai, Yuji handles Tokyo. The game that was designed to exhaust and eliminate sorcerers through attrition is getting dismantled from both ends simultaneously. Kenjaku built this game around sorcerers killing each other. He did not build it around two people at this level working together toward the same objective. Reggie Star is one of the more tactically dangerous players in the game. His receipt technique lets him materialize any object he has a receipt for, and he uses it with a strategic precision that makes him genuinely difficult to deal with. He understands the point system better than almost anyone, and has been building toward a dominant position through smart play rather than raw power. Megumi runs into Reggie's trap first, and it is a real problem. Reggie has spent weeks setting up layers that are specifically designed to overwhelm and drain opponents before finishing them. Against Megumi alone, it nearly works. Yuji arrives, and the layers Reggie spent weeks constructing meet a cursed energy output they were never designed to handle. Dismantle fires through the entire setup in a single wide arc, clean, precise. Everything Reggie built between himself and the people he was hunting disappears in one motion. Reggie looks at what just happened to his strategy and understands immediately that the game he was playing and the game Yuji is playing are not the same game. It ends fast. The real problem here is where it gets genuinely dangerous, because Kenjaku has been alive for over 1,000 years. He has watched every type of sorcerer operate across every era of Jujutsu history, and the moment the colonies start clearing faster than his projections, he notices, runs the numbers, and understands exactly what is happening. Yuji with Sukuna's full power was not a variable Kenjaku planned for. He planned for a vessel, a powerful one, but still a vessel, still someone who could be managed through the game's structure, worn down through attrition, cornered by rules he cannot break. What he is watching right now is someone moving through his game like it is not a game, like the rules are a mild inconvenience and the players are speed bumps. So Kenjaku stops trying to use the game against Yuji and starts building something outside it. Because the Culling Game ending early does not end Kenjaku's plan. The merger is still coming. The ritual does not need the game to complete, it just needed the game to buy time. And if Yuji is going to collapse the game ahead of schedule, Kenjaku needs to be further along in the ritual than he currently is. This is the moment where the what if stops being about fighting through colonies and becomes something else entirely, because Yuji just forced the most dangerous strategist in Jujutsu history to accelerate his plan. And an accelerated Kenjaku is a Kenjaku making moves nobody has seen before. The Angel is one of the most important players in the entire Culling game. An ancient sorcerer reincarnated into a new body, carrying a technique called Fallen that can eliminate any binding vow, including the prison realm holding Gojo. She is the key to getting Gojo back, and she has her own agenda that makes her deeply reluctant to cooperate with anyone. Finding the Angel is difficult. Getting cooperation out of her is harder. She has spent centuries developing a specific hatred for the cursed technique that Gojo carries, and has no interest in freeing someone she considers a threat. Yuji does not negotiate from desperation. He does not beg or bargain from a position of weakness. He walks into that conversation as the most dangerous thing currently walking through these colonies and lays out exactly one option: help free Gojo. The leverage is not a threat, it is a simple reality, and the Angel, who has survived long enough to understand which hills are worth dying on, reads the room accurately. Yuji is not asking, but he is not threatening either. He is just completely, immovably certain, and certainty at that level from someone carrying that kind of power is a form of persuasion all by itself. The Angel cooperates. The prison realm gets opened, and Gojo Satoru comes back. Gojo returns. The game is over. The moment Gojo steps out of the prison realm and his cursed energy output expands back into the world, the entire Culling Game shifts. Every player still alive feels it. Every barrier in every colony registers something has changed, because the two most dangerous things in the Jujutsu world are now both standing on the same side of this war at the same time. Gojo looks at Yuji, feels the output, and for the second time since the rooftop goes completely quiet, because what Yuji was at the beginning of the story was already something Gojo had never felt before. What Yuji is now, after everything the Culling Game put him through, is something further. Not just power, mastery, the kind that comes from being pushed against the hardest possible opposition and coming through it cleaner and sharper than before. They do not need a long conversation. Gojo runs the math on the current situation in about 4 seconds, nods once, and starts moving toward Kenjaku. Kenjaku, the final problem. Kenjaku is not the kind of enemy who gets caught off guard by power. He has been planning across centuries. He has worn more bodies than anyone alive can count. He has built contingency on top of contingency on top of contingency, and he is currently running an accelerated version of a plan he spent 1,000 years refining because Yuji forced his hand early. The fight is not clean. Kenjaku does not fight fair. He fights smart. Every technique he has accumulated across centuries of body swapping gets deployed in sequence. He is not trying to win through power. He is trying to create a situation where winning does not matter because the ritual completes regardless. Buy enough time, create enough chaos, let the merger happen even if he loses the fight personally. Yuji does not let him buy time. Gojo does not let him create chaos. And the coordination between them, one shutting down every escape route while the other closes distance, gives Kenjaku something he has genuinely never encountered in 1,000 years. A situation he cannot think his way out of fast enough. Kenjaku's plan collapses, not because Yuji was stronger than him, because Yuji forced him to accelerate, which forced him to leave gaps, which Gojo came back into. The chain of consequences that started the moment Yuji entered the first colony ends here. If you want more Jujutsu Kaisen what ifs just like this one, subscribe. We've got plenty more coming. And go check out this video next because we discovered what would have happened if Yuji had Sukuna's full power in episode 1. Trust me, you don't want to miss that one. See you in there.